preliminary task was, for me, somewhat of a large experiment rather than a film itself. It allowed us to practice various shots and make sure we understood what went into producing a filler. For me, one of the flaws of the preliminary was narrative. This is in terms of both writing and the narrative conveyed in the shots. The story did not really make much sense. A janitor goes into the cellar and finds himself. It just doesn't work. The only dialogue involved 3 or short sentences that didn't further the narrative whatsoever, instead confusing the audience, and even us, more. This made a massive impact on our final product. We decided that there definitely had to be more dialogue, and the plot had to be more simplistic so that audiences can actually get their head around it. As the writer, I feel I achieved this, but with the help of the rest of the group. This is another thing I think we all learned from the preliminary, to make sure you like the film too. We made sure that in the final product, we all put our own ideas into it, rather than allowing one person to take the reins. We also discovered the importance of sound in the preliminary. Throughout it, the sounds of the generating can be heard, yet as we switch between shots, the sound dies down and then reappears. This makes it far too obvious that the shots were taken at various different points in time, and really detracts from the fluidity of the shots. There is also no music, therefore we had to rely on the shots themselves to convey suspense, which I don't think they did very well. So this is something we jumped on straight away when we started filming the dialogue scenes in our final product. To make sure that dialogue was clearer, we used a separate microphone. This meant that no person's voice was louder than another's. Sound effects were also used more productively in the final product. As it begins, we can hear police sirens, which immediately tells us that the audience that a crime has happened. If I was to be critical of our final product, however, I feel that certain scenes are better than others, purely because of sound. In the interview with Mitch, we had to dub over the voices because they still weren't clear enough. Yet my voice acting is actually considerably worse than my physical acting, which is hard to believe. This led to it being clear that the voices were dubbed. Apart from that, I think the sound was a massive improvement over our preliminary. Editing also vastly improved since our preliminary. Rather than sticking to iMovie, more advanced editing software was used, which allowed for better visuals, such as the blurry haze during Blake's recoil, reflecting his drunken state. At one point in the final product, when the camera tracks behind PC Benson's back, the cut is so smooth and well done that we were fooled into thinking it was one shot. It is clear that we learned a lot from our preliminary. We improved in all areas of the filmmaking process, and more importantly, we are all happy with the final product.